like I had. I mean, it's a whole story and I won't get into it because it would take the hour to get into it. But, and so I made it broader, but I still want, I want to help all women, but I still want to help the niche, that's my first, and I joined an MLM, I don't know if you've heard of Volo or not, but I joined Volo. And the reason I joined Volo was because their programs are like $50 to $150. And that for someone that's disabled is way more doable. And then, if you purchase the course, I was going to go ahead and just give you the coaching that comes with it in the course, if you bought the course. And oh my goodness, the flack I have taken because I have said that, it's just insane. And I'm going, I'm like, but I also have a mindset of, if you can pay more, you're going to pay more. There's always going to be a client that when you have like $1,000 program that you're going to find. Maybe I'm all wet saying that, but.
Okay. So I think I have a general idea of where you're going. Susan, where do you have yours completely nailed? Do you know what your direction is?
I wasn't really sure what to expect on the call.
That's okay.
I just jumped on. But you're asking about what is my goal for impact in my coaching business, right?
Okay, so before we actually like establish what we're going to say our actual impact goals, I just want to make sure that you are you have 100% clarity on what direction you're going, who you're impacting. Because we can make an impact goal and you can, anybody can just say, whatever, I want to impact 6 women. But if you don't actually have that, laser focus. I don't like using the word niche because I don't know. I have a whole other topic. But as long as you feel like you have I'm like, you have a good direction. Like what you're a coach. What kind of coach are you?
So you're saying as long as I know who I'm speaking to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I coach bridal hairstylists and makeup artists.
Right. Bridal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sassi, I'm gonna just put Volo, and then you want to coach. Coaching. Okay. So obviously we have our impact goal, which I know we talked about, when I was doing the live, we talked about the impact goal being the most important aspect, because obviously the impact leads to whatever financial goal, whatever financial results or fruits or whatever are going to come from that. So let's talk about what your impact goal is for, we're at the end of, we're in May, right? May, June, July, August. Yeah. So let's say May through, this is just the starting. So May through May, June, July. Let's say May through July.
Okay.
So we're going to go quarter, even though I know that 3 months. We're going to do a 3-month. And then we can break it down to if you have something specific that you want to do for June and July.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So tell me your thoughts on, Susan, I know some we've talked, so I know some of what you're doing, but what is your goal beyond starting the podcast, and how many women are you going to coach?
Who are you asking that to, me or her?
Susan.
Her. Susan?
Susan.
Sorry.
Okay. So my goal for one-on-one coaching is to keep it at about 5. I don't want to overwhelm myself, and one-on-one time, is limited. So I only want to take on maximum about 5 clients. 5 per month?
Yeah. How long are your coaching? 3 months?
It's 2 months.
2 months.
So
okay.
I just literally maybe this last week or so kind of laid this out. So I don't have it all memorized yet, but it's going to be a 2-month commitment. and then we'll meet every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So twice a month.
So essentially for May, let's just say we're May. So let's say what's Monday? Monday is the what? 14th. So May 14th, let's just say your goal would be if you had 5 women. So you would have 5 women that run May 14th, May, and into June. So in June, you would have to start essentially getting your next group of people in. Okay. So right now
unless they want to continue, they can sign up for another 2 months as well. You know, it depends on like where they're at in their business and how much help they need.
Because it's not a group program. It's a very specific one-on-one. So each person has their own direct.
Yeah. So I have like a structure of what we'll work on within their business, but it depends on where they're at and how much work or how much help they need. Because some might just, you know, barely be beginning, and some might have been in the business for a while, but they're missing a lot of holes. You know, they have a lot of holes in their business, and they don't have, they need to work on certain things. So it's kind of like filling in those holes and helping them gain focus.
Okay, so for you want to impact, so we're going to say you want to impact 5 women. That's your goal is 5. We're going to stick with 5 just because it's too much to think that in June you need 5 more. Let's just go with 5.
Yeah.
You're going to have impacting 5 women. So how can you impact them? That's first. What is the impact of them working with you?
So I help them. So basically, how do I help them? Right.
I want you to like think like a little further, like not like I said, like growing their business, like what is the impact it's going to have on them personally?
So, well, I'll just explain it to you, and then you can kind of let me know your feedback. But so from the girls that I have been mentoring so far, I have helped them gain a lot of clarity and focus, because a lot of times, like when we're in our situation, we can't really see the bigger picture, and we can't figure out like what we need to work on right now first. And I kind of get like a roadmap mapped out. So we'll figure out, okay, this is the first thing that we need to work on first, and the foundations, you know, like building the foundations and the fundamentals of the business. And I also I go through like any issues that they might be having, and then I find solutions to those issues. And so we kind of prioritize and figure out what needs to be done first, and then we'll kind of map it out as far as like what's going to be next, and then working on the next goals. And so what I've noticed so far from working with a couple of my girls is that everything that I am showing them and teaching them, I have been able to speed up the process of, basically I can teach these girls everything that took me like 2 to 3 years to build in my own business. I can teach them like super quickly, and they can get through it within a month or so. And so that's what I've noticed, and that really was like amazing for me to see, like, wow, I literally, you know, spent sleepless nights. I spent so much time, and, you know, doing it on your own, it's just like, it's so much more difficult. But since I've already been there where they are at, I know the answers to all their problems, and I know like what they need. And then since I'm on the outside looking in, I can see with clearer eyes, so I can help them to focus and say, okay, those are great ideas. Let's keep those on the back burner. But first, right now, this is crucial. This is what you need to work on first. And then, you know, so that's what I've noticed so far in my mentoring programs. And I think the most valuable thing there is probably just speeding up the process, and like I provide them with the right tools and resources too, which is huge, because I had to find all these tools and resources on my own, or create them somehow on my own.
Do they already have a business already? Or is
Yeah,
this
a lot
for
of
you?
them. So the girls that I have worked with so far are interested in building bridal beauty teams like I have. And a few of them, a lot of them do have like some kind of team already built, but they don't have it very structured, or, you know, they have a lot of holes in their system.
Okay.
But I can also work with artists who don't have a team yet, but that's something that they want to do.
Okay, so your impacts that you have on them are not necessarily a financial impact or a financial windfall. This is more about good direction and growth. Kind of like, I feel kind of like really establishing that they are the CEO of their business. Like, this is how that's going to happen. So your main focus isn't telling them, there's so many people that talk about that. Like, you work with me in 2 months and I'm going to make you make $5,000 a month or whatever that is.
Yeah, no, I don't like guarantee
Perfect.
that kind of stuff. I don't like claim that kind of stuff. It's more like helping them. I feel like I'm kind of like a business partner, like having somebody in their corner that's helping them, you know, move along with the process.
Okay. So you've got
I'm
five,
more like support.
5 women that you're basically going to help them establish and just grow their business in general. Just establish it.
Establish and grow. Yeah.
Okay,
And I
perfect.
can help with marketing strategies and all of that too.
Okay. So your impact is going to be of a business, and I'm not even saying emotional, even though you're giving them clarity, focus, and direction, goals. It's more about growth. So we're going to say for you, your impact is going to be 5 women, and it's going to be for growth in all areas.
Like scaling and growth.
Perfect.
Scaling business. Okay. Hey, thank you.
Hey,
I'm like, I don't know what it is.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to come back to everybody after everybody does that part. Then we're going to go back to a separate part instead of going everybody all at once, just so everybody. Hey, Ivy, how are you?
Good. I was so excited 'cause I was like, oh my God. Like, I did as soon as I could, and then I was like, I missed so much. I was so mad.
No. We were kind of chatting in the beginning. Okay.
Okay, good.
Stasia, how about you? What is your direction? Like, what are you hoping to do in impact? Hold on, you're muted. Unmute. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Sorry, I forgot I ended up sneezing, so I muted myself. I apologize.
No problem.
Until I heard Susan speak, I thought I knew what I wanted, and now I'm not sure if I have a clue what I'm doing.
Okay, so let's talk about the Volo. I have heard of that, so I'm familiar with what they offer. Has that open and established yet, or is that still pending?
Our soft launch it's in a month. It's not even until June, the soft launch.
Okay.
You can enroll teammates, but you can't. But as far as customers, they don't have the product yet. It won't be ready until June.
Okay, so you actually have a perfect time then to establish this next month, like how you want to start really talking about if that's the first thing you want to do is try promoting that product as a coach. You have some time to actually start putting it out there, start saying it. You know what the first product they're going to have out is, so you can start kind of seeding, if for lack of a better word, you can start seeding it in there. And you can, since nobody has offered anything yet, you can kind of establish, this is the first round of use. Do you know how much the first one's going to cost them?
I believe the first one was $55.
Okay, so you can offer the program, and it's 14 days, right?
I think they're going to actually run it over 30.
Okay, so it could be 2 to 4 weeks, let's say, the first program, whichever it is. So you could still focus on targeting the customers, and the clients and the people that you want to with that $55 program, and just say everybody's going into a group, and you can offer it two ways. You can offer it as just, this is what you get for the 55, and you have a Facebook group for support. I don't always go, you're not committing to being there every single day. But if you want more of a VIP, my attention, I mean, shit, you could just double that, and it's not even that expensive.
Oh, okay.
Just double the cost of it and say, what is it? So even if you said, let's just say 125, because that's not horrible. 125 for 4 weeks. If it's a 2-week program, you might change up a little bit what you offer, because some people are going to be like 2 weeks, I don't really know. 4 weeks at 125 is like, I mean, it's not a huge investment where somebody might jump into it and say, I can swing that. And then they get to see what you're about, and they get to be involved with you. So you could just say, if you did the 125 and it was a 4-week program, I'm going to do 1 live coaching a week in the group for whatever, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you wanted, whatever is comfortable to you. But that's a way for you to establish a goal of how many people you want to impact with this program. If that's the first thing you want to do, like the first way you want to impact, I would go about it in that avenue. So that way since you have time to speak to these people, putting it out there, you have time to kind of do that. Okay. So if you were thinking about when this program was coming out, how many people initially were you thinking you wanted to be able to reach?
I'm wondering, 20 seems like way too many, but then 5 seems too low, so would like 10?
No, I mean, what feels like, if 20 feels like too much for you, like it just doesn't feel right here. Obviously, if you're not feeling that, it's going to be put out that way. So you don't want that. And then if you're looking at 10 being, why don't you just put it in the middle and say 15?
Okay.
Just to feel it out. And that way if that feels good, if you start rolling with that and 15 starts to feel icky or starts to feel for whatever reason, you can always, say 10, but I think it's always good to be a little bit higher, be a little bit uncomfortable, but not too uncomfortable to where you're like pushing.
Right.
Okay. So 15. So we're going to say 15. And then what is the impact that you want to make on these 15 people?
Well, with the first program that they're coming out with, it's on mindset and happiness. And I think, I know that's one thing that really helped me was until you fix your mindset, and aren't always looking at the negative of the situation, you're not going to change anything. And that was my biggest thing that I had to learn.
Okay. So positivity. You're going to focus on positivity.
Right.
Bridget, can you hear us?
Yeah. I mean, I can hear you right now. I was
not sure because I was chatting with my husband. Okay.
I know, I could hear.
I wasn't sure.
I can't really hear what you're saying, but I could just hear you.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if, because I'm sitting outside with my husband. And I was like, I'm not sure if Mike and I are on mute or we're not. And I was like, I didn't want to disrupt anything. So.
No, that's okay. You're fine.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
So would you focus then just on one thing versus trying to do multiple? Does that make doing multiple things into it, or would you set your goal different?
You mean 2 different types of like programs or offerings, or you're talking in general?
Well, see, there's 2 different. I have 2 different businesses.
Okay.
And some of the advice I got was to offer it all in one thing, but I don't know how that's going to work. Is to offer it all in one group, because I can see how the happiness, the mindset, and the personal development would go into the soul crushing experience, but like the travel I'm trying to figure out how to reach that in and make it work with the happiness, because the first course is called Happiness is a Habit for Volo.
I mean, how does it feel to you does it feel, when you think about putting the two of them together, do you have a lot of resistance from that, or do you feel like it feels good to you?
Well, see, and that's the thing. I thought it did feel really good, but part of me wonders, am I going to start confusing people? Because I can see where the travel, like I've discussed, the travel helping, with your experience, and recovering your soul. But then at the same time, is that too big of a gap to fill in from the happiness to go to the soul?
Okay, so I mean,
sense.
Yeah, no. I think what partially you do have going, I mean, eventually you might be able to, mesh them together. But I think that if you're trying to, like, you're just starting to talk about it and you're just starting to put it out there, like if you really, really want to take those 15 people and you really, really want to impact them and you really, really want to change it, you might not want to seem like you're putting a lot different stuff. I think you just target different people. So if you have 15 people with this program and maybe you say, you want to impact 5 with the other. So it gives you the ability to have your vibration on each one of them be focused as they're supposed to be, instead of trying to jam them together and it being the energy that you put out is going to probably end up being confusing because you're not sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So until you're 100% sure, I would keep them separate. I would commit to the 15 people, and your impact goal on them is to change their mindset into a positive, mindset. Is there anything else with them that you want to focus on besides just the positivity portion?
Well, and along with that, there's actually going to be 2 courses, because the other course they're going to bring in is called the Soul Cleanse.
Okay.
And with that, with both of those, if you don't follow the program correctly, then they want you to start completely over from the beginning, is the way that I've been explained. Because I'm co-author. What they've explained to me is I co-author it with a different coach, with another coach, and then I can offer it to my people. You see, you look confused, so now I'm wondering.
All right, so let's just talk about. As they keep rolling out program, the first one they're rolling out though is the
Happiness is a Habit. Yeah.
All right. We're rolling with Happiness is a Habit right now until you get a feel for how that all is going to work for you.
Right.
And how the coaching is going to work. I wouldn't try to put so much on yourself that you're trying to figure it all out. Focus on one, put all of your energy into this particular one that you're starting in these other 5 women, and focus on the impact that you can make on those people with this specific thing.
Right. Okay.
I feel like when you've heard it before, when you're like squirrel brain and you're scattered and you're everywhere, you are really not helping anyone fully until you can commit to, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so we're going to work on the positivity, the mindset change, and the mindset shifts that they need to have. And how that looks in a program. Obviously, I mean, we can talk about that and lay that all out later. But that's your focus. We're going 15, and we're going positivity and mindset shifts within that. Okay. All right. Ivy. You're up.
Yes.
You're up.
Okay, well, I missed the first half, so I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about, but if I could just speak a little bit where I'm having some difficulty in my business, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm having a little bit of a shift from, so my just background is my upline is, they come from a professional world and not so much social media based or, stay-at-home mom or, do you know what I'm saying? Like they're in the middle of their real estate. They're just, hardcore professionals. They have a lot of public speaking. So they're teachings from the downline are really not touching base on anybody below that level, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because they have that network where the average person that comes into a direct sales company, they don't have this, 15, 20,000, 30,000 people network.
Right.
So my issue right now is that I recently kind of broke off from that because a lot of the teachings were for that surrounding career. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do my own page. And what I'm doing is I really am giving an opportunity for everybody that has partnered and that is doing the business to really express why they joined the business, what their reasoning is for joining the business, what they want to accomplish from the business. I'm really kind of more that mindset where obviously like the business is priority to where they're bringing in an income that's changing their life. But at the same time, I want them to grow as individuals and grow mindset at the same time. So I guess I don't know if like my issue is like kind of bridging that gap between the two pages. Does that make sense?
I mean, what it sounds like to me is that you are feeling, you were called to and you're feeling, because you're doing it, to shift into kind of being a business coach for this particular, it's not like you're just going to randomly, and maybe it will turn into that later where you might randomly business coach all direct sales or marketing women, then whatever business they're in. But it kind of feel like because your upline wasn't reaching you, that they're not reaching a lot of people, that might be across the board in other teams and other people. So you're kind of offering them something they're not getting.
Yes, because I feel like the majority of time when you get into this type of business, most people that they take that leadership role, they're only thinking that in their own mindset, but they're not able to reach every personality.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they always kind of incorporate whatever their previous career was. And so I'm like, you can't really touch base on everything like that. So, I mean, some people, I have people that have partnered with me that they do it just for the friendships. They don't really care where their business goes. They just want a group of women that they can surround themselves with and talk to and build relationships with, and maybe solving some other problem than monetary.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like I'm having an issue kind of separating myself, because I find myself now that on my leadership boards, like I'm getting blocked, like my comments are getting hidden because I touch base more on opening, more opening the mind, I guess, and not just like, because I see posts so it's like, okay, what are you doing to promote your team? What are you doing to promote this? What are you doing to promote that? And to me, I'm like, that's not really, that doesn't really, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't really resonate with everybody, I guess. Like to me, like for some of my, like some people that may be very off-putting, I guess, because you're really only talking a dollar amount where, you're kind of blocking the people that got into this for a whole different reason.
Okay. So if you were to say, your goal then, your impact is to try to be able to reach all of the women that are having a problem connecting because of those reasons. Like you want them to be able to still feel like they have the support they need, even though it's not related to whatever issues everybody else is talking about.
Yes. Yeah, because what I feel like is, oftentimes in this style of business setting, the women that maybe only are able to get like 2 customers a month, they don't grow their team, but maybe they acclimate a couple customers or they accumulate a couple customers. They get kind of left behind because they're not growers. They're not expanding light years ahead. And I feel like those women, though, for them to get those women, like they're growing and it's still hard for them. So, and I feel like they get often left behind, where if you spent the time nurturing them and growing them.
Okay. So because
they're going to, in the long run, they're really actually going to be longevity wise, they're going to be growing.
because I follow your posts since you were trying to figure out like how, like everything that you're saying today, you need to start putting in and vocalizing in your posts, because I think that you're going to pull in, you have your own Facebook group, I assume, for all of the people that are coming in and doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that if I'm just gonna, I mean, you can obviously say this is not what you're thinking, but if your impact goal is then, I mean, we can pick a quantity of people that you want to add per month. Like you want to add X amount of these women per month to your group, but your impact obviously is to them knowing that they have a, a safe place to grow in whatever way that they grow, whatever way, and a person that's going to support them no matter what. And they're not even on your team. Is that correct? Not all of them? They're just on everybody's team or random, or they're only on your team?
No, like I do mass trainings for our network. Because I feel like a lot of times it's so monetary based, where I think leaders in the industry forget that, somebody starts from somewhere and they have to be built to that. A lot of them are just push, 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 push. And I really want to more impact others that are like, listen, you're just starting this out. It is scary. You get on here and you're being shoved out to Facebook lives, and you're all of a sudden posting about things you know nothing about, some people. And I just feel like, the market as a whole, if we don't somewhat get people to where they're growing at their own pace and really like empowering, you want to empower these women that come into these businesses, because they're coming for something. Like no woman comes into this type of industry where they're ridiculed, they're made fun of, people talk about that. I want them to feel like when they come into this, especially if they join my team, like for whatever reason, whether it's monetary or it's emotional, you're empowered. You're going to grow into a stronger human being, because either you're pushed a little bit to be a little bit more forward, or you're pushed a little bit to put your own emotions in front. I want that to be shown. And that's where my struggle is, because I'm trying to do that. And I feel like my upline is fighting me on it, because they're constantly money, 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 money. And I'm like, no, like this is so much more than that.
Okay. So I think that you can take this. I mean, like if I know you're not asking me this, so I won't just interject my,
no, I want you to, because that's why I follow you, girl. Like I need you just to spit it out.
I mean, what I see is that you have your business, and then you have that where you are making your money, you are doing your stuff. This aside is your way to impact, the women, the world. I mean, you're talking more than just your business. You're talking all of the market. You're talking everybody in this, in the industry having this issue. I think that's a huge impact in itself. And you're not looking right now to have any kind of monetary value come out of that. But I think if you continue to do that and serve that way, it will, because you'll end up being a coach. They'll end up coming to you saying, I know that we're not like in the same company, but can you provide me some, one-on-one coaching? That type of thing. That's how it'll end up rolling out. But I think that if you focus on right now saying that that's the impact you're going to make, and however many women you want to reach a month, bringing into the group and just serving in that fashion, that's going to turn into, who knows. But I think, don't feel like this is your thing. This is your impact. This is your, I don't like to say why, because that's not deep enough. This is your purpose, and you're finding it. It can be completely separate from you growing your business. So I don't know, like them giving you a hard time, like this is your thing. This is like, if this is like where you're calling to go, like this is like the purpose. This is what you're here to do. So I would just open up that Facebook group, start talking to the same thing that you're saying to me, start saying this in your posts and online and pulling people over. And then once they're in your group and they realize how much support they're getting, that's going to take off into any direction, especially if you're opening it up to
I feel like
other marketing companies.
Yeah. So what I feel like is just like a very small background on my why. is I was in the mortgage industry, very career oriented. Our youngest son got sick. I stayed home 15, I mean, he's 20 years old now. So over 15, 16 years, I guess, I stayed home as a stay-at-home mom. And to me, when he was graduating high school, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back out there in the career force. I have degrees. I'm educated. I have careers before this. To me, when I wanted to get back into the industry, the workforce, people literally were kind of laughing at me. They kind of thought, like, who is this girl, like, trying to get back into the workforce? And so to me, I never looked at a direct sale as a viable business. But then once I started it, when some of my girlfriends were like, hey, do this. We want to get product at cost, and you just, jump on because you got nothing else to do. So to me, like, I did it. And then I realized through that process that I wasn't alone, that there were plenty of women just like me that dedicated their lives to their children and their family, and that we didn't have that option anymore, because we didn't work our entire life. We dedicated our lives towards something else. So through that, obviously, I've been in this industry for not very long, 3 years, very, very short. But through that time, I realized that, I grew as a person through that. And then I realized, there's a lot of women out there that if they don't feel that they're contributing financially or contributing business wise, they don't feel validated. So to me, like, when I bring on somebody in my business, I'm like, you are validated, you are a businesswoman, we're going to grow you into a businesswoman. I want you to feel validated. So to me, like, I struggle with the higher beings in my industry, like, looking at it as like it's just this grow, regardless of if it's organically or whatever. I feel like I'm constantly fighting with that, and I'm just not sure where I'm supposed. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm kind of stuck, I guess.
Okay, so I'll swing back to that. How many women would you say if you were just reaching X amount of women to put into your group so that you can impact a month, what would that number look like to you? If you were adding how many women a month to the group?
I do things a little differently where I don't really base it off a number. Like, I have a group page where when somebody comes on board, like, I'm like, I want you to go live and tell me why you're part of this, why you want to be here, what your struggles are.
Is this your team? Is this your team, or is this, I don't want to talk about your business team. I want to talk about.
It is a team. It is a team page, but also I do invite women that are not part of the team. If I feel like they're part of another industry that they're feeling lost and they just can't they just can't get that, you know what I mean? They're just a little bit lost, and because they're feeling they're leaders, they just haven't yet reached that point where they're like, okay, I can think outside of what I'm being told.
Okay,
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and it's fine that you don't like to associate with numbers, but when we're talking about what you're doing, which is support, empowerment, and validation. So those three things are so important, and you want to make sure that you're reaching a certain amount of people. And so you only know, and the number's there for the number. I guarantee if you start speaking the way you're speaking here, you'll end up double, triple, however many, because people are just going to start coming in. So you have to be comfortable with, is that group okay for you? Or do you need to start a whole another group where that's what that's for? Because you may find that's once you start speaking that way, it's going to flood. You're going to have a flood of people.
No, I agree. So I would say probably no more than like 20 to 30 women a month. Like, I wouldn't want to take more than that on, because I wouldn't want anybody to get lost in the shuffle.
Perfect. So we're just going to say 20. And the impact is the support, empowerment, and validation. Those are your 3 words. Those are your 3 big things.
Yes.
So if you can give them that, that's what they're looking for. So everybody's got their people, what they're doing. So the next step is, you go back to, I know Stasia, you put in there, she said a lot I couldn't put into words. Ivy, she said you said a lot she couldn't put into words. If you guys want to, I'm going to unmute all of you, I think, if I can. I don't know, you guys have to unmute yourself. So Susan, since you went first, the next part of this, and then like the last part of it is, now you know, like in your mind how many, just to have a goal and what the impact is for them. Now you need to have the fierce action in order to make it happen. So like we can say this is what we want, and we can, I'm not a manifestor, vision boarder type person, because if you don't actually do anything, it's not going to work. So yeah, you guys can be thinking about it too, because I'm putting Susan on the spot. So you guys are going to have the same question. So it's going to be, you know, like 3 action steps that you can take to make this happen. Sorry, Susan, I put you on the spot first.
I know. Let me see. So how can I, and this is actually something that I'm kind of stuck on right now, is how am I going to get these 5 people? So that's like what you're asking, right? Like, what is our plan for that?
Just the steps that you can take. I don't like to say like directing it is getting those people, but think about it more of a way as how can you be serving, be making the impact yourself still, and by doing those things that you're going to
organically
attract.
You're saying organically.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so what I've been doing in my Instagram account and my Facebook, I have a private community Facebook page. I try to offer, so Instagram is just like an introduction to who I am, and it's kind of like surface level. I do post a lot of personal stuff about me, so that it's like a way for them to connect to me. I post a little bit of business tips there, but all of the really good juicy stuff is in the private Facebook community. And so I try to do at least 1 live training a week in there. And I'm working with a couple of people right now, actually you're one of them, to have some guest speakers in the private community, and just to bring them something new and refreshing, because I have been the only one that's been training these girls and offering trainings in that group. So far my strategy has just been to give free value, you know, just to give them value, give them support.
Okay.
And what else? That's about it. That's all I've been really doing, is just being me, giving them something to connect to, and being open as I can. And then also giving them like tangible strategies, business growth strategies that they can implement today, right now.
Okay, so and this applies to, I mean, if anybody else has the same, you know, flow or funnel, I guess you could say, the key then obviously is to get people to the Facebook group itself, so that they can, you know, experience the trainings that you give and all the information that you have in there. So a really good action step for you might be to, and this, they work really, really well, is you can either do like a course or a class, like a 1 hour or 2 hours, something on a Zoom. You can do a live training, and besides your group, like a series, maybe you put 3 30-minute series together, and at the end, making sure you're actually having, you know, some sort of call to action, like book a call with me because you're offering this or something. Because I think we forget, even though we have these action steps that we want to make the impact, we kind of forget that we have to kind of tell people, this is what I have, because they forget. They're like, oh, this is so great, but they don't really know, and that they don't catch all of your stuff. So I think it's important for that. So I think if you think about your giving and your serving in the group live, like maybe can you do an extra live a week while you're trying to get these 5 people? Can you like think of ways that you can give more without obviously taking so much from you, but give more so that they see how much more you have to give, and that why they need you, why these 5 women need to scale and grow their business with you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. And so you're saying at the end of these free trainings that I'm doing, I can every once in a while just kind of throw it out there like this.
Not every once in a while, every single time that you do a live, and you don't always have to say it. Like, I never always say, oh, and by the way, hire me. But you can just seed in, like, just exactly like you did when you explained to us what your current clients have experienced. When you say something and you're like, oh, and the direction and the focus, and my clients are experiencing. If you just even say those words constantly, people are like, oh, well, maybe she has, opening. Or at the end of one of them, you can say, anything. Not every one of them, you don't want to feel like you're constantly trying to pitch them on something. But I think that the seeding in of talking about your clients, your programs, your stuff, that in itself is just going to make them realize that you have something else to give them. If they want something more, that you have a lot more to give, basically.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. And I actually, I didn't, before this, I just established this like a week and a half ago or something. So I didn't actually have anything to offer them yet.
So
this is like
idea.
Timing.
Yeah, you can do I really prefer like shorter. Like everybody was doing these 5-day challenge. I think you lose people's attention after 3 days is max. Like after 2 days, I'm like, oh, okay, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you keep it shorter and keep the time shorter, like I don't know about everybody else, but like sitting on and listening for 45, an hour and a half, like I can't do it. It's like, okay, I got to watch the replay. I can't do that. So I think go short, keep them super, super pointed, and say like, I think you have the ability to say like you have this program opening up for 5 women, even though it's one-on-one, you can just call it a program. So this is what I'm offering. And so give them a taste of whatever that is with like a series training, whether it's 2 times or 3 times for 30 minutes. And then that'll help. That'll help you also get people into your group. So
wow, that's a good idea. Give them like a little teaser and like a little taste.
And offer it out everywhere on Facebook and have people share it, and that they only get access to it if they get into your group or get they get their email and all that stuff.
Okay.
All right, Stasia, what do you got, girl?
I know we talked about that, the impact of the 15 women. And so like I thought lives would be, I don't do very many of them, but I know I need to get in the practice of doing more. And then I'm kind of like where Susan was at, I'm kind of at a loss as to the best way to do, to pull them into the group.
Okay, so you have a Facebook group too.
I don't. I need to start one because I just decided that I needed to start one after you and I talked that we needed, because I don't. So it'll be, and see, that's another thing that I worry about is because it's brand new. So then who's going to be interested in something that's absolutely 1,000% brand new?
No. Whatever it is that company is brand new. You're not brand new. You're the coach. They're there for you. Okay. You are the coach. The programs that you're bringing in, you're offering them, those are just the programs. You're going to bring them in with, and if that program is the first one you're selling, I want you to really think about what you can do to talk about the positivity, the mind shift, why they need all of that, and start talking about that and bringing them in with that. Because at the end of the day, people can buy that 2 or 4 week program, and I guarantee you they're going to be like, I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm not even going to do it. It wasn't that much money. I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
If they have you as the support, that's when they're going to do it. And that's when they're going to change. Without you, they don't do it. You got to think of it that way. And you don't even have to talk about, when you open up your group, don't talk about Volo. Don't talk about the program that you're hoping to, get with them to, really coach them on, sell them. You want to get them in with what you're giving them right now. Give. That's all you're doing right now. You're just serving them. So that's all you're going to talk about for the next. And so if your goal is 15 in that program by June, right now for your May goal, it should be, getting your Facebook group open and getting at least 15 in there. I know it'll,
Okay.
you know, you'll end up getting way more than that, but just set yourself, that's your goal right now for this May, before you have a program that opens. It's getting everybody in there and starting to serve in that way, whether it's posts or programs or lives. That way you're in your group and you can practice your lives in there. You can do more in there and get more comfortable before you go back on your main and start shifting it.
Okay.
I think that's how you're going to be able to
start
focus your impact right now on serving solely in that aspect.
Right. Okay.
I think that's where you'll make the most impact right now.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think if you focus your attention on it and not on all the other little nuggets that are everywhere, it will help.
Yeah.
So if you focus your attention on that, that's the impact that you're going to make right now, is getting a group of people together that need that positivity and that mindset shift. They need that change right now. That is your impact.
Okay.
And then
do that through lives and posts.
Any way that's comfortable to you. Any way. Pull them into your group. I really, truly think you need to have your own group. That way, when you start to do this stuff, you know, think of the name of the group, get that set up and start pulling them in that way.
Okay.
And you just have your focus be on impacting those people into the group and talking about all that stuff. Talking about the mind, everything that you already know yourself that you want to shift them into, talk about that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I think that is a good start. And then in June, your impact can be shifting more into serving through that program. Right now, you're just serving in general because you want to show what you have to give. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
It does. Thank you.
All right, Ivy, what you got for me?
You know, actually listening to Stasia, is that how you pronounce your name, Stasia?
It's actually Stagiaire.
Okay, Stagiaire. Okay.
I'm saying it wrong.
Actually,
Sorry.
listening to her, because you know, it's interesting. It's interesting to me because listening to her, you know, you get so many women that come on board, and they come from all walks of life, and when you start listening to their reasons on you know, why they're doing something or why they're not doing something, it usually well, not usually, 100% comes down to their circumstances surrounding them. And so really, like, when I was listening to you talk, I was like, oh my goodness, like, if you could touch base on their circumstances and on why they're wanting to be part of your program, because I'm not even 100% sure what your program is, but to me, like, I look at, like, my business, it's a tool. Mm-hmm. My business is an avenue for people to grow and for people to learn and for people to reach whatever, you know, goals they want or whatever. It's an avenue. It doesn't matter whether it's my avenue or whether it's somebody else's avenue. It's still an avenue. So to me, when I was listening to you talk, all I could keep thinking is, gosh, like, I want you to know the reason why they chose that avenue. And I think if you figured out, like, why they chose that path, I think you would resonate with them a little bit better, to where you'd reach home with them a little bit better. Like, Bridget, don't you think? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that essentially it's going back to I think I mean, initially she was talking about mindset shifts, and I think that it's getting out of there's a lot of mindsets you have to get out of. Mm-hmm. So I think it's definitely, sure, you know, learning how to get out of one. And I think that so many people have, like you said, there's the circumstance they can use, and not everybody does, but they can use the circumstance as a crutch or an excuse or a reason. Mm-hmm. But they just need that one person to just give them a little bit of a push. And like Ivy said, the validation, the group, the feeling like they have somebody that they can connect with and be heard and listen.
Yeah. I mean, so. I definitely think, like, the empowerment, I mean, just personal level, again, not too long ago, because my husband travels on business a lot, so I'm by myself a lot. my 2 Great Danes. Like I have 3 Great Danes. 2 of them passed away within like 30 days of each other. And these are dogs I spend more time with than I spend with my kids, my husband, online, doesn't matter. I spend like my whole life with them. When they passed away, like they died very suddenly and kind of tragically, like I drove myself out to the mountains and I screamed at the top of my lungs. Like I kicked my tires. I threw rocks. I was freaking like just fucking angry. I was so angry. Like I can't even describe to you how angry I was. And to me, it was a mindset shift. Like my mind went from being like, oh, girl, you got this, blah, 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 to my whole world got rocked and I suffered something and it woke me up. It was like I got punched in the stomach. And it really kind of awakened me to realize that, you know, whatever you're going through is nothing compared to somebody else's story, because somebody else's story always takes precedence to themselves. Mm-hmm. And so to me, like I run my business as every single person, whether they're a client or they are a partner or doesn't matter, or they're just somebody who's reaching out. I always look at their story as something that is more powerful than my own, because my story doesn't mean anything to them. Like myself, like kicking tires and, you know, throwing rocks out in the mountain because my dog died. Like they don't look at that as being something significant to them. So to me, you know, whatever business that you're starting, like I look at that as resonate somehow on their level and really talk to them like on what their goals are and what their dreams are. Because the thing is, like, where you want to be doesn't really help them. It just helps you.
Right.
Does that make sense? So it's like, yeah. So to me, like, and that's where I'm struggling. I'm in a point where in my business, like I'm struggling really hard on separating myself from one way of thought to another way of thought and being more authentic to myself and not somebody else. So to somebody who's like just starting and really like, this is what my goal is, I would hold 100% true to that. And I wouldn't falter from that. I don't care what somebody else told me. Like, I would be like, okay, like what they're going through, that's part of their story. And that's part of the reason why they want to join you or why they want to partner with you, why they want whatever you're doing. Like they need that in their life for a reason. So you need to resonate with that.
It's at the end of the day, it's understanding and making them the hero of their story. Because you're not, I'm not the hero of your story. You are. And that is as long as you can do that and you can and allow somebody to be heard with that, it everything else opens up. So
yeah.
So you think sharing the story, sharing your own story, like my own story, so I don't know, because Bridget, you and I had talked about not going clear back into childhood and all this happened, but what made the shift to decide this is what I want to do? Maybe telling that story in a video or live.
Yes, because that's your transformation. So when you're shifting that into how you can get them from point A to point B, they just need to know that you've gotten from point A to point B and just what is point A. So whatever point A was, whatever that moment was, like it may not have anything to do with when you were a kid. It may not have anything to do with Ivy's resonated with a certain, horrible circumstance when something clicked, and we all have something, but that doesn't mean, that we have to go back and talk about inner child shit if that doesn't resonate. That's my whole thing with story. If you're trying to connect with somebody that has gone through something tragic, that is them resonating with you, that you went through that something tragic. It has nothing to do with you talking about whatever. You know what I mean? That's my issue with story, is too many people want to talk about, nobody cares about the noise of that quiet, like, crap that I don't hire people, and I don't think other people hire people based on our parents were alcoholics. Was yours, was mine, like, ooh, we're going to connect. No, it has nothing to do with that. I think that you need to tell your story and you need to connect with the parts of your story, with the people that you're trying to connect with, those people that you're trying to impact, and you're trying to give them that positive, mind shift and grow and be, those are the ones that are willing after something happened to make that shift. So you're connecting with them. You're not going to force somebody who's not ready to. You might have people start listening to you and start realizing, and when they're ready, they'll be there. You'll be there. But yes, I know we just got off track. Ivy.
Yes.
No, it's okay.
We're running out of time.
For helping me.
I really was just gonna say, like, it's not like I belong to like these crazy dog groups or like anything crazy. Like,
No.
I lost my dog. It was just literally like because it was my circumstances, my personal circumstances. My husband just travels a lot. To me, it was a wake up moment. And for whatever reason, my career as somebody in direct sales, it just clicked, where I was like, wow, this whole time, like, I've kind of taken for granted my life and kind of felt like everybody was at this level. And then when my dogs died, it wasn't like that at all. Like, it hurt my heart so much that, I mean, it hurt. Yeah, I struggled with it, and I still struggle with it. But
okay, so for you, I think listening to you, your action right now needs to be, all of the things that you've said here are very in contrast with your posts and what you say. Like, I read your posts and I'm like, okay, but this is where the deeper connection
for sure. And I go live, and when I've gone live talking about that, like, I get this huge response. I mean, it's people cry with me. They're like, oh my God. To me, like, because I am such a positive person, I don't want to really share that much because I feel like it's just something that it's depressing. Does that make sense? Like,
it depends on, you can make it depressing. You can make something depressing, or you can say, this happened, but this is where I'm at with that. Like,
oh no, for sure. Like, when it first happened, like, I took my two, when I met, and I know because I know, like, it's 3 Great Danes, like, whatever. So, like, when my first one died, I mean, he went from, like, being alive and healthy to dying. And it was like, it took me a few days to even take my other dogs for a walk and just come to terms with it. And then when I did, I cried. I went live and I just cried. And I was like, I promise I won't cry, but I'm just letting you all know, because I do have a lot of followers that follow me for these damn dogs. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, as ridiculous as it sounds, like, these damn dogs. And then my dog that I had from, just this little 10-pound Great Dane, like, she got bone cancer, and a week later she died. And I literally went on social media and I documented everything because I was so upset, and I didn't know how else to deal with it. I just needed my people to know. And it's like, when I found myself being super true and authentic on there, like, it's really, people started resonating with me, because wherever, like, and this is, I guess, another thing where, Bridget, where I don't know if you and I talked about this, but where I struggle a little bit business-wise is that, from being a stay-at-home mom and taking care of the kids, like, I have a lot of issues with, like, full-time business women, where they're like, you don't even know what my life is like. You're just like this stay-at-home mom, and you stayed at home and now you have this home business, whatever, blah, blah, blah. When I went through something and I was very transparent about it, it literally opened my world up. And it opened my business world up, because then people started seeing me as a real person. Mm-hmm. And they started seeing me as, like, somebody who's like, oh my God, like, she's crying on here. And we just thought she just, does whatever with her life, like, every day. Like, it was the most amount of emotion that I showed in a long time. But daily, I feel like my followers personally they're not going to resonate with me really saying, like, listen, I still cry a little bit every day. Like, I spent more time with them than I do my family. Like, I still cry a little bit every day. And at the end of the day, it still is just a dog.
I think that what you need that they're going to resonate with, and what you need to put out there, is everything that you talked about when I asked what your what your impact was, what you're going through and what you want to do for them. Those are the things right now that are really going to reach. So I'm going to say that's if your goal is to get 20, to help 20 women and impact them in that way, that your action goal is going to be, whether it's lives or whether it's posts, to really start reaching them in that fashion.
Yeah, I want, there's nothing more satisfying to me so just another little quick story is, one of my girls, she called me and she was like, I've seen your posts. I can't get out of bed. Her mom passed away, she was a single mom. She's like, this is hitting me home. And to me, this business really wasn't monetary for her. It was getting her out of bed every day and giving her a purpose and giving her something to strive for, and surrounding her with women that were strong-minded, to where she was able to build herself up for that. So when I say empowerment, I mean, not just empowerment financially, I mean empowerment, you wake up and you hit the ground running. Whether it's business, whether it's the gym, whether it's being a stay-at-home mom, whether it's being corporate, I don't care. I just want you to hit the ground running and literally just feel empowered.
Well, that's your message. So that's your focus can be less on worrying about everything else. And just now that that I hear it, now that you can hear in your voice the things that are important to you, let it out there and that start attracting and pulling in the people that you can impact, that you can help. And wherever that goes to is wherever that goes to. We can look at that next month and say, okay, so it's next month and I've gotten the 20 women in there, and now what's next month? So just focus on seeing how that feels first, actually putting those words out there and putting that out there and see how it feels. If it feels right, if it doesn't, if you're finding, oh my God, okay, not only is it 20, it's 50, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do here. It's gonna be totally something different. So you really have to just roll with it and see how it goes. Feels good. It feels like what you want to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I went live a few days ago, maybe last week, and I talked about just, the power of positivity and really talking about that. And I got messages, and they were, sorry, I got a call. They were really not at all my same thought process. They were really super negative, not negative towards me, but so negative towards themselves. And I feel like there were things that were outside of my control. So how do you handle that when it's not really per se your alignment, but they're so far off? Bridget, how do you handle those type of messages that are desperate, I guess? Not even desperation, just they're a deeper level of negativity.
They're messaging you for what? Being negative how?
For help. They were like, I watched your live. They weren't even friends of mine. They weren't even Facebook friends, but because I'm public, they would message me and they're like, we watched your Facebook live. I need help.
Okay.
And it was just this long, paragraphs. I was like, oh my God, this is like a novel. And I was like, this is a lot more than I asked for. So how do you navigate through that?
Those are the people that really want to be heard. So you have to, choose whether or not you want to do a voice message back, or, whether or not by what they're saying, you feel like you can help them and you can offer them to shift into your group where you offer more, group trainings and lives and stuff like that. And then just see where it goes from there. It feels negative, but because they're in a negative space, but that's what they are looking for you to get them out of. So sometimes it really just is, and you may decide the way the conversation's going that wouldn't be a good fit to be in there, or you may decide they are and you just shift them into there. You can't physically help everyone one-on-one, but you can start shifting them into the group and start doing more stuff in there. As you see what they're asking you, what they're responding to, and what they need help with, you'll know exactly what kind of live trainings to do in the group, and then you're going to be talking to them anyways. So I would make a list of when the people are coming to you, their issues, just make lists of all different ones, and then you've got a zillion topics for lives to go in your group and do trainings on. I mean, that's your, you never have to come up with any content if you're doing that.
No, would you still though like add them? Because to me, like my team page is for my business. I've added a few outside the team because one, I know they're gonna be partners with me, but I know they need a little bit help before that. Would
I think
I wouldn't want like per se that type of vibe being in the group. Yeah. Okay.
You need a separate group for those people that you will end up maybe, you know, down the road hiring you as just a separate coach for somebody who helps them. That's there. You're going to need to keep them separate from your actual business where these women are, you're actually trying to help them navigate their business. I feel like this is your impact over here where you're being called to serve these people. So I would just come up with a whole new group for that. Keep them separate for sure.
Okay.
All right, ladies, I know we went past our time a little bit. Does anybody else have any questions, Susan? Anyone before we close? And then I'll probably make a little document in the group, and I'll kind of just put a little bit of notes in there from what kind of everybody has. That way we can touch back on it next month where we have to redo them or whether we're making sure we're reaching it. Everybody can kind of keep everybody accountable for it.
I had a question.
Thank you, Bridget.
Sorry, I know somebody else was talking.
I had a question listening to Ivy. Okay, so with this, would you go ahead and do like we talked about doing the group, and then when they buy the program, create it like in a VIP group if they decide they want to buy into the program later in June?
Yeah, I think you have your free group where you're funneling in people to and really serving them on that basic way, whatever you decide to give them, whether it's like a once a week or whatever, and posts and trainings. And then that group, since it's a paid group, you're going to give them way more of your attention.
Right.
And then they're going to be talking about things that they paid for in that group. So you don't want them in your unpaid group.
Right.
So yes, you'll shift them into that. So right now I'll just focus on getting the group open and serving that particular group, and start your training and start getting people to recognize and listen and, oh, she's coming on. We know we need what she has. They need to be able to start hearing that and seeing that. Give yourself enough time. You got at least, like you said, it's in June. So you got some time if you start focusing on it now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Susan, you're good?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for all of your help.
Yes. All right, ladies. I will, I'm sure I'll be posting, but I leave for vacation on Friday. So
yay!
I will touch base with everyone. All right, guys. Okay. I'll put your notes in the group, and then if you have any questions, of course, I'll still answer your, just post them and let me know.
All right. Thank you, Bridget.
All right. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.